So this is what Priti Patel said on the 16th of March. How can a handful of members of Parliament in a committee, really be that objective in light of some of the individual comments that have been made? I don't want to name people, but it is a fact. The lack of transparency, the lack of accountability. I think there is a culture of collusion, quite frankly, involved here. Priti Patel. Michael Fabricant. Serious questions will need to be asked about the manner in which the investigation was conducted. There are no jurists, as was apparent by the tone of the examination. The question of calibre, malice and prejudice will need to be answered now or by historians. 9th of June. Nadine Dorries. They changed the rules, lowered the bar and inserted the vague term. Frankly, it sounds as if she's writing some sort of sex scene. They changed the rules, lowered the bar and inserted the vague term reckless into the terms of reference. Boris Johnson will be found guilty by this kangaroo court. There is no doubt about that. And that in itself will be a disgraceful and possibly unlawful conclusion with serious reputational consequences. Mark Jenkinson. When the witch hunt has been forgotten, future generations will look back in astonishment. Zach Goldsmith. In retweeting a tweet calling the inquiry a witch hunt and kangaroo court, he says exactly this. There was only ever going to be one outcome and the evidence was totally irrelevant to it. Brendan Clark Smith. Tonight we saw the end result of a parliamentary witch hunt, which would put a banana republic to shame. It is the people of this country who elect and decide on their MPs. It's called democracy, and we used to value it here. Sadly, this no longer appears to be the case. And Andrea Jenkins, I hope, and she's the lady with the one-finger salute, I hope to see him fully exonerated and to put an end to this kangaroo court. Well, Brendan Clark Smith is, of course, entirely wrong. It's not the Privileges Committee which would have thrown Boris out of the House of Commons. It was his own constituents who would have been given an opportunity to hold a by-election, and he would then have had the chance to be deselected and lose an election. In fact, he chose to resign. So Brendan Clark Smith is wrong in his assessment. As for the kangaroo court and the witch hunt, that's just abusive, and these people should know better. And the Nadine Dorries stuff, as I say, it just sounds as if she's writing another one of her slightly colourful passages, or giving it to somebody else to write. Michael Fabricant, he just needs to go back to the hairdressers. Priti Patel, well, if this is the tone of her comments, then I can understand why the Rwanda policy, which was adopted by her successor, Suella Braverman, is so bad. But equally, she's somebody who surely has benefited from having been through an investigation, having been found to have bullied somebody, and then been allowed, by the grace of the Prime Minister, to keep her job. She should be significantly more generous to the system.